Hello again, everyone. This is your host, the Zeniths, and this is another unusual episode of the podcast of the Spirit Channel. As you can probably hear straight away, this one is not recorded in my lovely home-based studio, but rather I am outdoors. I am out walking because this is the only opportunity afforded to me pretty much since last week to actually do anything of note or gather my thoughts enough for a podcast. And so I thought I would do this while I could have done it tomorrow, but by that the impetus would have left me, and I want to do this while these thoughts are still coherent in my head. I'd like to discuss the concept of time, or the lack of it, and why exactly it is that I'm out walking. These last few weeks have been tough. They have been tough time-wise. For one reason or another, I just have been incredibly busy, incredibly grounded in the material world. I found that this September and last September have been months of physical world issues and physical world considerations needing to be taken into account. Anytime that I've gone to do anything of a spiritual nature, there just seems to be obstacles put into my path, and to be honest, it's left me incredibly frustrated. I'm normally, I like to think of myself as normally a calm person, but when it comes to not getting the time to meditate or maybe write or things of that nature. Sorry, not even that. Two concepts, the two fundamental things that I outside of my ordinary life, not my working life, but my ordinary home life. The two fundamental concepts that I need are meditation and long walks alone in nature. So hopefully you'll understand why I'm out now. Currently it is nearly 8 p.m. GMT time. It is almost dark. The light is fading in the sky. There is at least one star in the sky. I'm not too sure if that's the morning star, the evening star. The evening star, I guess, because it's evening. It's flickering red. Could that be Mars? I'm not too sure. But anyway, the light's fading. I'm in a park, small wooded park, which, for reasons I'll explain, is something that, or is somewhere that I have had to, compromise for my walk. I one of my problems, or one of my things, one of my hang-ups, if you like, one of my distortions is I dither too much. I spend too much time dwelling on different things that I end up wasting a lot of time. There's that word again, time. So, for instance, when I decided that I was getting nothing else done this evening, and that I would be best served just by taking myself somewhere for a quick walk, I dithered, wondering, is it too late? Is it too late to go for a walk? If it's not too late, where should I go for a walk? Should I travel far and have a nice walk? Should I travel, along a sea where I was when I recorded that other podcast? But then, is that not too far away? Is there too many people there? Perhaps that park is closed. What could I really accomplish, or how long could I really, get walking or get done in 30 minutes. If I really wanted to spend a lot of time there or in that environment, perhaps I would need a good hour, or a really good hour, for the benefits of nature to sink in. Okay, so maybe that's too long, because by that stage it's going to be, potentially after you're 30, and then by the time I get back and I wanted to record a podcast and I haven't eaten any dinner yet, I haven't had any meals today, which is not unusual for me. I don't normally eat until late, or normally only eat once a day. Then perhaps then maybe I should go somewhere closer. What about here? No, I don't like that environment. Right, okay, maybe I shouldn't go out at all. Maybe I should. So do you understand the dithering and the babble that goes on in my mind? So eventually I made an impulsive decision for myself and decided to go to somewhere where I thought was a nice wooded enough area, which if I spent a short while, I could be alone with myself. When I'm out in nature, I really need to be on my own. I believe it or not, I'm not antisocial, but I don't know, I need to be on my own. I need to have that calmness, that tranquility, without being disturbed by other human beings. So I need that time alone. So I thought by going there, it would afford me the opportunity to be alone. But as I was driving there, I remembered that there's somewhere slightly closer that potentially wouldn't take me to travel as long, and also then I could spend more time in this place. But it's not ideal. It is. It's close to a main thoroughway. It's close to a main road, and there are a number of people in it. So I've had to go off the beaten path, like a crazy wild person, because if I walked along a path, I would seem like a massive weirdo talking into my phone at almost 8 o'clock at night, and people would rightfully shun me. So I'm walking across a field. But anyway, so this is where I am. And the reason why this has led to this here is because I start off with the base of intentions each day. And it shouldn't really come as any surprise, but I think each day is lived more in hope rather than reality. So I said to myself, once I complete my day today, I'll be finished that rather early. I don't have set hours. The sooner I get my work done, the sooner I'm finished. Then I'll come home. I have my place to clean and scrub. Then I'll maybe get a podcast recorded. Then I'll take a nice long walk somewhere. I'll get out. It was sunny today. I was looking forward to being out in nature, somewhere far away, a good wood, like I've been wanting to do for the past few weeks. And then I will come back, fit in a meditation, and then I will be ready to go out to my mediumship development class, which I've missed for the past few weeks because of time once again. Time, lack of preparation, and it just hasn't seemed right because of these factors. So, as I said in the beginning, or maybe I didn't, maybe it was a message I was writing to one of my various spiritual groups, that there just seems to be obstacles placed in my path that I don't really seem to have much control over, or seem to be of a nature that they can't wait, they need to be sorted out. And this is exactly what happened today. Things needed to be sorted out, events and situations. And so by the time I returned home, I found that I was caught up in the drama yet again of another event that needed to be sorted, and I left myself with no time. I had not finished, and I guess there must be a bit of OCD, perhaps a bit of autism. Here, I needed to finish the task that I was doing before, which was cleaning the dwelling, and the longer this went on, the longer or the shorter my time became to attend my mediumship, my psychic development class. And so the longer I thought about this, I caught myself up in two minds. Should I, shouldn't I? No, it doesn't feel right, but you've missed the past 2 weeks. You really wanted to go this week. I know, but you've got this to do. What about recording this? And so once again, I found myself in a dither, and time once again seemed to run out. And so this is where we are now, and we are now out in a pitch black, semi-wooded area, talking into the phone, recording a live, well, not a live, but recording an open air podcast. But as I said, this seems to be about time, and there seems to be something about this that time is such a strange concept. It seems to go very, very swiftly when you seem to want to have a lot of things to do, especially when you think that you will have that time, to accomplish all that you want to. And then in what seems to be a blink of an eye, you now find that you've run out of time. Conversely, when you have nothing planned, and you seem that you don't have a lot of time, is when you seem to find that you have loads of time by the armful, and wonder where this time came from when just previously, when you thought that you had a lot of time, you didn't. And so I think perhaps this is a spiritual event. Perhaps these are indicators. Perhaps these are events that are moved and shaped by those who look after you, who are there to guide you. Perhaps this is an indicator that the time isn't right for you to do what you want to do. Although we think that we know better, we can only see one step in front of us. We don't see the broader and fuller picture of how events interconnect and the outcomes that they can lead to. But those who dwell in the non-physical, who are not bound by the same constraints of time that we are, have this much broader and much fuller perspective. Oh, I was about to sit down that park bench, but it is soaking, so I think I'll have to stand. I can see potentially where our actions and our planned actions may lead to, and perhaps these actions and these ideas that we want to see to, or want to come to fruition, may not lead us where we want to lead them. And so as I said, I'm just guessing here, but perhaps in a way they shape time against us. So they shape events in such a way that we get caught up in distractions and other situations and events that we run out of time, and we end up not doing what it was we wish to do. But because we don't have that perspective, we get frustrated and we get angry, and we begin to curse the universe for its unfairness, for its attempt to work against us. Maybe that's one perspective. Maybe another perspective is that we just need to take a step back from things. We just need to take a step back from things. Again, this may be shaped or helped by those who work with us in the non-physical or the spiritual realms. But I think that we can spread ourselves too thin, and I have certainly found that these past week or two that I've definitely been spreading myself too thin. I have been, as I said, fingers in lots of different metaphorical pies, if you like. Conversing with people and on different formats, different social media, creating content on either my blog or podcasts or YouTube or whatever. Talking to various people in the flesh, just people who seem to be drawn to, who need advice, who need guidance, and then obviously, you know, you've got your day to day, which takes up a large part of your life, and then you've got your home life, and that then leaves little time for your own personal spiritual development, your meditations, your contemplations, your whatever it is that you do to potentially grow spiritually. And then for me, I have an additional potential 3 nights a week in which I attend various classes and circles, trying to develop the gifts and abilities that are blossoming in me and that I have brought through in this incarnation. So it's a very busy, mentally exhausting life sometimes that I lead, and I did write a blog post on this, which I called, what the hell did I call it? I called it My Life as a Snapshot Presently, and as always I'll post the links at the bottom of this podcast. But it may come across as a bit of a whinge, as a bit of a moan. I don't mean that. I'm sure various other people are incredibly busy and working incredibly hard. I understand that and appreciate that. My life may seem to be walking through rose petals strewn paths in comparison to theirs. I don't doubt that. I'm just simply saying how my life is with trying to juggle these different hats. It's tiring, and it can be exhausting for one who is trying to create content and trying to do all these other things. As I'm sure many of you who listen to this will know in some regard or another. And so sometimes this is a trap or a pitfall of our own making, because the more we get involved in our content, for me, in trying to get my message out, in order to try and in order that it may help benefit people in their own spiritual development or in their own life, then the more you can get entrapped in that and caught up in other media that you didn't potentially intend to, and this is exactly what's happened to me. Recently I have had the honour of co-hosting or becoming an admin into a friend's, I think I can call him a friend now, a friend's Telegram channel, and now I feel slightly a bit of out of pressure trying to create content and post content and voice, give my opinion and reply to comments in that as well. So it's yet another piece of social media to add to an already busy social media profile. And so, as I said, I think it's when we do this and we try to keep up with all of our work, we feel a certain sense of responsibility to our listeners, to our readers, to whoever. we feel obligated then to stick to our deadlines, stick to creating content every so often, posting every so often. And the more we do this, the more we can get embroiled in that. We can get embroiled and sucked into this social media life, and perhaps we lose slightly sight of what it was that we got into this for. Sometimes, if not all of the time, it's about quality, not quantity. But because sometimes we maybe don't feel inspired, or we have been so busy with other matters that maybe we post something, or we sell ourselves short. I always said that I would never write something, or I would never post anything that I didn't feel particularly inspired to write. But I have to be completely honest here and say that even I have felt the pull of this responsibility to get something out there. I think especially this podcast, as I committed to creating an episode every week, maybe every Monday, and there has been times when this has fallen by the wayside, and I feel obligated to get a podcast out, but sometimes I just don't feel inspired enough to talk about a subject. I think in the beginning, I had all these ideas that I wanted to do, and then potentially when I got enough of those ideas out, I certainly felt that maybe I'd run out of ideas. Maybe it was like writer's block. And I don't think that those ideas have potentially gone away. I think it's just because I've been so busy that I've forgotten perhaps what it was that I originally wanted to talk about. Sometimes inspiration can come in the most uncertain ways, i.e. right now. This is a bit of a strange one because I'm out getting therapy for myself, but talking about the very thing that has caused me to go out and get therapy. So it's almost like a self-defeating purpose. Strange. But as I said, I'm out here, I'm in nature, I'm talking about time, and for me, once you spend enough time in nature, once you are alone enough in nature, once you begin to relax away from the fast-paced environment, the human world with all its many, many distractions, you begin to get more comfortable. You begin to relax. You begin to really let nature soak into you. It's almost as if we're becoming a part of nature. If was your physical body, then it may turn into a tree. Your feet, sinking into the soil, turning into roots, and your arms with branches, and your head the top of the tree, becoming one with nature. Just feeling that vibe from nature, that beautiful, natural, uncomplicated, uncluttered vibe. Reconnecting with nature. The more I think that you do this here, especially when you are alone in nature, when there is no one else around for you to think, oh right, well I now have to greet this person or offer hello or whatever else, you begin to relax and begin to find that time in this environment no longer has its hold, no longer has its grip upon you that it once did. You begin to feel that time slows right down in nature, that it almost ebbs away after a fashion. There's something about nature that time seems irrelevant in, and at first you may think, well, I've only 10 minutes, or I only want to spend 10 minutes, or I only want to spend 15 minutes. But for me, if you're really going to commit to nature, if you're really going to commit to a walk in nature and really take nature in without earphones on, without your mobile phone, ironically, glued to you, and just take in the sights and sounds and smells of nature, then you naturally begin to slow down and you naturally begin to want to spend more time in nature. And then after a time, you begin to find that all those cares, all those concerns, all those dramas and distractions that play out in your everyday life really don't seem that important anymore, really do seem irrelevant in the larger scheme of things. And as I say, when you think about all the time that you were stressing out about and all of the things that you wanted to get done, you just wonder what on earth was all that about? What on earth took place there? Because while I'm out here, I seem to have all the time in the world. And so I think it's because you're removed from the human world. It's just simplicity. It's simplicity itself. It is a step back to, or a connection back to the spirit world, where none of these human concerns and worries are in a factor. And so I think that's what it is. I think it when you're out in nature, you're really reconnecting back with your authentic self, with spirit, with the creator itself. And you, as I said, begin to wonder then, why all the dramas? Why did I get caught up in that? Why did I let myself become affected by that? Why did I feel it was so necessary to put myself under that pressure and give myself that amount of stress? What is it all for? What does it all mean eventually anyway? And so it's a very strange thing where, as I said, time just starts to slow down, almost come to a standstill. Especially now where it's almost pitch black, and I can barely see 2 feet in front of me. But there's something very magical about nature in the night. It's a closing down. It's a slowing down of the human world. It's a tucking down and a shutting things off, and a time for preparedness for people to get ready for bed. And so it's a kind of magic, I think, descends over the natural world when dusk appears. It's almost like another world appears, like the forest comes alive in a different way, that you can imagine that all these things that maybe remain hidden by day, it becomes their time, it becomes their opportunity to come out away from the noisy humans and the noisy human world. So I think it's very important to slow down and take yourself away from the distractions. Stop spreading yourself too thin, and believing that all these things matter, that they're so important. You know, that you will be missed, your voice will be missed, your thoughts will be missed if you don't get that post written, if you don't record that. And it doesn't even have to be anything of a spiritual nature or the material that I could do. It could be an essay, it could be a potentially a deadline, it may not even be a deadline imposed by maybe your school or your college or your workplace or whatever else. It may be a self-imposed deadline. It could be chores, it could be anything. It could be just all these different commitments and things that we think are important while we're in that world. So it could be anything, and as I said, if you're like that, if you're feeling like that, take the time, and certainly don't dither like I do. Take the time out to force yourself away from what you're doing and get out into nature. Go for a walk wherever. Try and find the time on your own, and do not fill up that time in nature with headphones on, with your phone attached to you. Keep your phone on silent, or better yet, if you can, leave it somewhere. If you're driving, put it away in your vehicle. Don't take it with you at all if you can. And just let yourself reconnect with nature and feel, as I said, feel the air, feel the presence around you, feel the trees, the foliage, smell. and really begin to feel yourself reconnecting with nature and slowing down. And do this. I think the Japanese have started to recognise the benefits of nature in a big way, where they have forest bathing, in which a person goes into a forest and lies down on a bench or a table. I'm not overly familiar with how it's performed, but as I said, I think that's the basics of it. They lie down, perhaps they have a blanket or some sort of shroud or whatever, and they're in a forest, and that's it. They simply lie down and gaze upwards at the trees, at the sky, and take in what nature has to offer. When we think about nature, we think about trees. Trees take in our carbon dioxide and they emit oxygen. So yet another clue how wondrous and precious nature is. You know, we take in oxygen, which is our life giver, and we emit carbon dioxide, that gas that is produced by the depletion of oxygen in our system. It's a gas that we do not need, that does nothing for us. But yet trees absorb that CO2, that carbon dioxide. And when you think about that, it's magical in a way, isn't it? That they take our byproduct and give us exactly what we need to sustain life. And so once again, we begin to see and we begin to realise how exactly important nature actually is to us. And it's all there, it's always been all there. It's just that we get caught up in the distractions of the modern human life, and we forget about nature. We marginalise nature. We put nature to the background. We enclose nature. We put roads through nature. We chop down its trees. We upturn its fields, and by doing this, then we disturb the fragile and natural ecosystem, which houses wildlife, to make way for more human activity, which is very sad. And we look at some of these trees and plants, all nature shares a form of consciousness. We hear about tree huggers. Sometimes we laugh at those people, and we sometimes laugh at people who talk to plants and believe that they can't grow, but do believe it is real. Trees and plants do share a form of consciousness. They are a step below us on the evolutionary ladder, but they do have a form of consciousness, and in some beliefs and some channelings tell us that the trees are alive and are aware of what humans think, are aware of what humans are doing, and are very saddened by our activity that has harmed them, and they can talk and they can communicate to us. I was actually listening to a podcast by Brian Scott who related a very spiritual experience that he had, in which he was talking to the trees, and he had a message from the trees about humanity, where humanity has been, where it's going. Very, very interesting. I found it very interesting myself. I'll post the link. But I think now my time is done. My time is done recording this podcast. My time is done potentially in this wonderful, magical environment. It's now 8:20 p.m. and I know that's still very noisy outside in that main thoroughway. Walking away from that and walking deep into this dark, black forest that has barely any light seems to me to be turning your back on the human world, turning your back and going in somewhere where the rest of people can't follow, that they're oblivious to, your own secret world, joining the inhabitants of this secret world that only come out at night. So who knows? Maybe I'll disappear for good. maybe I'll never come out from this magical world, only coming out at night and becoming and turning into a Desian of the forest myself. Maybe not. I guess we'll see then next week. I've been your host, The Zenith. I hope you found this podcast enlightening, enthralling, hopefully very helpful. Don't forget to take a walk in nature. Don't forget to get away from the human environment. Please me, believe me, you'll understand and you'll realise the benefits of it. So, potentially until next week, or potentially forever, this has been me signing out. Thank you so much for listening.